So our next storyteller has been telling stories all his life, most recently at the Moth, Extempo VT, Storytelling VT, and other places around town and around the world, actually. And when asked, Dennis McSorley says that he likes having herring with onion for New Year's is good luck. And I looked it up because I was like, why? You know, my mom was into it too, and I'm like, why this herring? Turns out it was a rare and unpredictable catch. And if you got it, it was good luck for the next year. And we have our own rare, unpredictable, and wonderful storyteller, Dennis, coming up now.
Yep, it's good. So families do have holiday traditions, and I'm sure you have your own. And I'd like to tell you about a unique one that I am totally responsible for. I was in a relationship with a woman, an exclusive relationship, and she had not met my parents. And my mother had passed away in 2002, and my father was still around in the Poconos. And we decided, why not take a little road trip and go see my dad for the holidays, and then continue on and see her father and her siblings in Maryland. Great idea. So we hop in and we head down. And now I'd already called my father and said we were coming. And he lives in a 4-bedroom house in the Poconos all by himself now with a cat. And he says, of course, this is typical of like another Christmas story where people couldn't find a place to stay. He says, you can't stay here. And I said, well, why not, Dad? And he said, well, your mother wouldn't have approved. And I said, well, Mom's not alive. And he said, well, you're not married. I said, well, what does that have to do with it? I had already been there once before with a different girlfriend, and we did stay there. And so forget it. I said, all right. So we start driving down, and we get to my dad's house, and it's dark, and it's starting to snow just a little bit. And he grew up in a depression, so none of the lights are on in the house. Maybe there's one someplace. So we ring the doorbell like 100 times, and a light comes on, and here comes my dad down into the front, underneath the porch. He opens the door, and he sees the flakes, and he says, you really better get going. And I said, well, we just got here, Pop. Do you mind? Can we, come in for a second? We just drove, 5 hours to say hello. And I've got a tin of cookies, because my mother always used to bake these, and I've got a reindeer candle and a card for this guy who couldn't care less about anything, really. So he says, well, come on in. So we go up to the kitchen. He puts one light on. We're standing in the kitchen, and no conversation. I said, there's your cookies. You want to read the card? That's okay. So I kind of get the vibe like it's time for us to move on. So we say goodbye to my father. We get downstairs, and we head down the road to the Motel 209, which is one of these places that's in a bad movie. It's just one of these motels that has a single room. They're all attached. And the Patel family, who now owns it, are very, very happy to see us. And I said, you have a room? Yes, we have a room. We have a room. It's $29 a night. And I'm like, we're good. So I said, you can wake us up at 7:30. We have to go travel further on. Yes, no problem. So we go into our room, and it's one of these places where, after about a half an hour, the wall next to us, headboard, is banging against our wall because the trucker who has stopped with his companion is having a good night in there. There are screams coming from a couple of units down. I look and see these lights blowing, and it's 2 police cruisers and an ambulance as I look, and they're bringing a woman out who's saying, and I will kill you, you son of a bitch. And so we go back inside, and I say, this might be a good time for us to open our presents. And because we're here now, and it's our first time together, and she says, well, okay. So I said, here are yours. So she opens them up, and I have gotten her a cashmere scarf. I'm good at getting anything. And some silk silver pajamas, pants, top, no lingerie yet. It's too soon. And she says, oh, my God, how wonderful. Here you go, Dennis. Here's yours. A little bag that's a little lumpy. I open it up. It's a pair of wool socks. I'm from Queens. I have no idea what you're supposed to do with these. And there's a big, tall box. So I open up that big, tall box. And lo and behold, it's a doll in the image of Bing Crosby with a pipe and a microphone and a hat. And he's singing, when you crank him up, I'm dreaming of a white. Now, I'm brutally honest at the wrong times. And I tell her that I actually hate Bing Crosby. There's nothing I like worse than like to kill this guy because the way he raised his children, his baseball team, Bob Hope, the whole thing. I can't stand Bing Crosby. And she's almost in tears, and she says, I never get presents right for people. I said, you had no idea. You had no idea. Let's just like go to sleep. It's a lovely little doll. They had Sammy Davis dolls. They had Elvis dolls. I don't know if you remember these little things. They had microphones, and they just sing this song. And so I feel light coming in the next day, and I realize the light is from outside. I look out the window. The snow is almost up to the rear view window on the side of our car. It's 10 o'clock. We didn't get the wake-up call. It's a blizzard. And we jump in the car to get going, shovel out, and the highway, the plows aren't out, and what should be a 3-hour ride maybe to Maryland is going to take 7.5 hours because we don't know where we're going. We pull off the road, we're fighting, we're arguing, there's no cell phones. We arrive at her sister's house, which is like out of one of those Miller commercials. It's just decorated, it's a beautiful house, and they're all outside like crying that we're alive, like we've just come back from some hostage situation. And they go, oh my God, you're okay. And they love Christmas. These are adult people who open presents, and what did you get? They're all excited like it's like they're 5. And I don't like these people, but I'm pretending I do. So what did you get? And I showed them the Bing doll, and they loved the Bing doll. And I'm like, wow, everybody has a point of view. So we stay a day or so, and I take Bing and I rewrap him in the box, and I put him on top of my soon-to-be sister-in-law's Subaru, which is in the shed, and I leave it there, and we drive out. A couple of days later, we get the phone call. You forgot something. We said, no. You love it so much, it's yours. The following year, that sister, who's a prankster too, decides the party's going to be at Judy's, which is in Virginia. We go to Virginia, and she's brought the doll, and we hide the doll behind Judy's tree, and Judy finds it like 2 days later, and it's now there. She has 2 brothers. The next brother, he winds up with it, and he's a motorcycle guy, and then the following year, he motorcycles the thing down to the other brother who lives in Virginia, and it goes to him. So Bing is on a tour, and I got rid of him. So I'm thrilled, and they're happy. I mean, what could be better? So what happens is the then marriage doesn't last, and that party is over, and I'm by myself, and the phone rings one day, and it's my son, who lives in Massachusetts, and he says, "Hi, Dad, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine. What's going on?" He says, "Oh, nothing much." He goes, "Listen, we just got a package in the mail. And it has no return address on it, and it came in a plain wrapper." And I said, what is it? He goes, it's this Bing Crosby doll. Like, do you know anything about this? And I say, I know a lot about this. I said, how the hell? And he says, I don't know. And I know that's it was coming around second time to those sisters. I don't know, they found his address, shipped it to him. I said, well, what do you think? We love it. We love the Bing. That is one amazing thing. He's right there next to the tree in our living room, and now that Bing has been in front of that Christmas tree and fireplace for about 10, 12 years now in his house. He's got 2 boys who are over the moon about this thing. They've even repaired little parts of it. If you eBay this thing, these things are worth like $500 now. They're collectibles. And all I'm saying is, here's a guy who couldn't stand the thing, but I started a nice family tradition that's being passed on to my son and perhaps to his sons, and who knows where Bing will be in the future. Happy holidays, everybody.